Hey there. So you're an entrepreneur, and you've got that itch, that feeling that your home market just isn't big enough for your dreams. Well, you've come to the right place. We're about to lay out a complete roadmap for taking your business global. Let's get right into it.
First things first, let's ask the big question right up front. Is your local market really big enough? I mean, for a lot of ambitious businesses, the honest answer is probably no. Sure, your home turf is familiar, it's comfortable, but real explosive growth? That often lies just across the border.
So why even bother with all the hassle? Well, the rewards can be massive. And I'm not just talking about multiplying your sales and profits, which is huge. It's also about pushing you to make your product world-class, protecting your business if things slow down back home, and even extending the life of your product. The bottom line, it's about building a stronger, more resilient company that's truly built to last.
Okay, that brings us to our first section, the global market. Before we start packing our bags and booking flights, we've got to understand what we're actually trying to get into.
You know, at its core, going global is a pretty simple idea. It's just the process of selling what you make to customers in other countries. It sounds straightforward, right? But just remember, even absolute giants like Shell and Honda had to start small in their own home countries first. This whole thing is a journey, not some overnight jump.
Which leads us perfectly into part 2, timing. And this is so crucial. Look, knowing why you should go global is one thing, but knowing when to make the move, that can literally be the difference between incredible success and a very costly failure.
So, how in the world do you know if the time is right? Well, there's a key tool for that, and it's called the business life cycle. Really understanding which stage your business is in right now is absolutely essential for making this huge call.
And this graph you're seeing, it tells the whole story. On the side, going up, you've got your profit and revenue. And along the bottom, you've got time. Pretty much every business follows this curve, from that first spark of an idea through the tough startup phase into that amazing period of growth before things kind of level off at maturity. But look closely at the end. See that fork in the road? That's where it gets really interesting. So, this whole journey has 5 basic phases. In the first 2, development and startup, you're just fighting to survive, right? Going global is the last thing on your mind. Then you hit phase 3, growth. It feels like you're on a rocket ship, but this is actually the wrong time to expand overseas, because you need all your focus on what's happening at home. Now, phase 4, stabilization. This is where you're established, but your home market might be getting a little crowded. This is the sweet spot. This is when you start planning your global move. Because if you don't, you risk hitting phase 5. Either you innovate or you decline. And going global, that's one of the most powerful forms of innovation there is. Which brings us to part 3, the action plan. Okay, this is the practical stuff. This is the essential homework you absolutely must do before you even think about launching on the world stage.
Think of this as your pre-flight checklist. You've got to do your homework on the new market's politics and culture. You need a super detailed study to figure out the real costs and risks. And pretty obviously, you need to have the money lined up, get all that paperwork sorted, and have a realistic timeline. Seriously, do not skip these steps.
Okay, you're prepared. You've done your homework. Now for the next huge decision in part 4, your entry strategy. How exactly are you going to get your foot in the door in this new country? The most common way to start is just by exporting. You can go to direct route, where you handle everything yourself. This gives you a ton of control, but it also comes with higher risk. Or you can choose indirect exporting, where you hire an agent to do the heavy lifting. This is much lower risk and is honestly the perfect way for most newcomers to get started. Now, beyond just exporting, you've got other options, and they all have a different balance of risk and control. For instance, licensing is low risk. You're just letting a foreign company use your brand or tech, but you also give up most of the control. Franchising gives you more control over your brand, but the risk level goes up a bit. A joint venture means partnering with a local company. You share the high risk, but you also have to share the control. And finally, the big one, opening your own subsidiary. You get total control, but you're also taking on all the risk and all the cost. The right choice here really depends on your bank account and how much risk you're willing to take.
All right, let's talk about the real world for a second in our final section, global barriers. Now, this stuff isn't meant to scare you off, but you absolutely have to be aware of the hurdles you're going to face.
A super common barrier you'll run into is a tariff. Put simply, it's a tax on goods that are imported. Its whole purpose is to raise the price of foreign products to make the local ones look more attractive. It's a cost you just have to factor into your pricing.
And then you've got the most extreme barrier of them all, an embargo.
This is a total, complete block on trade. A government literally forbids any and all business with another country, usually for political reasons. It's a complete shutdown. Game over.
This next point is so important. Understanding the local culture, their customs, their religion, their way of life, that is not an optional bonus. It is, as the slide says, the key to survival. A marketing campaign that's a huge hit back home could be an absolute disaster somewhere else. You have to know the culture.
And yeah, the list goes on. You might face things like import quotas that limit how much you can even sell. You'll have to deal with political or economic instability. You might run up against really strong local pride that favors their own brands, or even find that the technology in that country just can't support your product. Every single market has its own unique set of challenges.
But here's the thing. I know that list of challenges can sound a little scary, but every single one of them is also an opportunity. It's a chance to learn, to adapt, and to build an even stronger, more flexible business because of it.
So there you have it. You've got the roadmap, the why, the when, the how, and what to watch out for. Your global journey can officially begin right now. The only real question left to ask yourself is this: what's your first step going to be?